My name is Maggie, 43 years old, and I live a busy life focused on my work. Ever since I was young, I've been fascinated by machines. I studied engineering at university, diving deep into programming and robotics. The engineering faculty was overwhelmingly male-dominated, and it wasn't always easy being a woman in that environment. But I was so engrossed in my studies that it didn't bother me much. After graduation, I joined a private company, gaining valuable experience until I reached my current role. Right now, the company I work for is in the middle of its biggest crisis yet, a severe labor shortage. We started as a small team, always barely getting by, but our business suddenly grew, and we found ourselves struggling to keep up. A key employee, someone who was like the backbone of our operations, had to leave suddenly due to health issues. We are urgently trying to hire, but the process is thorough, and we can't afford to cut corners. Until we bring in new staff, everyone, including me, is drowning in overtime. I may not be as young as I used to be, and lately, I've felt the physical strain more than ever. And then, amidst all this chaos, I encountered someone truly unbelievable at the main branch of a major bank. Her name was Dora. It all began about a month ago. I stopped by the main branch to use the ATM. As I was walking, I accidentally brushed arms with a bank employee, Dora. It was a simple mistake, and I immediately apologized, saying, "Are you okay? I'm really sorry." But Dora snapped back with such aggression that I was taken aback. "Huh? You bump into me and then ask if I'm okay? Do you think that's enough?" She sneered. Her rudeness was beyond belief. Despite my genuine apology, she crossed her arms, glaring at me. "Come on, apologize properly," she demanded. Feeling uncomfortable, I apologized again, but she only scoffed. "Wow, you really apologized? Poor people have no pride." I was shocked at her attitude, especially since she was supposed to be a professional dealing with customers. Before I could respond, her manager, Jeffy, stepped in. "Mrs. Pfizer, did Dora do something to you?" Jeffy asked. It was clear he had dealt with Dora's behavior before. I explained what had happened, and Jeffy, looking embarrassed, apologized on her behalf. He made Dora apologize as well, though she muttered her words, clearly not meaning it. I decided to let it go, since it was such a minor incident. But that wasn't the end of it. A week later, I had to go back to the main branch for another errand. I hoped I wouldn't run into Dora, but the moment I stepped inside, there she was. The second she saw me, her face twisted in recognition. "Oh, it's you again," she said loudly, drawing attention. "You got me in trouble with Jeffy last time. You should take responsibility." I was stunned. Responsibility? She was the one who was rude. As she continued to raise her voice, Jeffy appeared once more. "I apologize again for my employee's behavior," he said, before sending Dora away. After I finished my business, I asked Jeffy about Dora. He looked uncomfortable, but eventually explained. Dora, it turned out, was the daughter of an executive from a company called AI Company. She had been hired through connections, not through her own merit. Jeffy admitted that her attitude had always been problematic, but due to her family ties, his hands were tied. Hearing this, I realized I might have some leverage. My company, Super Robotech, worked with AI Company on robotics projects. Maybe I could finally do something about her behavior. The next day, I found myself thinking about Dora even more. I couldn't get over how she had treated me and how entitled she seemed to feel just because of her father's position. The thought of her continued rudeness towards other customers and the way she acted as if she was untouchable made my blood boil. I decided that I had to do something about it. Not just for me, but for everyone else who had been mistreated by her. Yesterday, I had another errand at the bank. I had withdrawn too much cash earlier in the day and needed to redeposit it. I dreaded running into Dora, but I figured I'd just make it quick. Unfortunately, Dora spotted me again. She approached, reeking of perfume and clearly in a strange mood. "What's this? Depositing just $100? Poor people should go to the branch, not the main branch meant for ladies like me," she mocked, loud enough for everyone to hear. Before I could react, she snatched the $100 bill from my hand and, to my horror, tore it in half. The room fell silent in shock. "Hey, what are you doing?" I shouted. Dora just laughed. "Poor people like you don't belong here," she said. That was it. I had reached my limit. I turned to Jeffy, who had come running over. "I want to close my $8 million corporate account," I said firmly. Jeffy's face went pale. "I can't trust a bank that employs someone like her. Unless she's fired, I'm closing my account." Dora's face drained of color. "Wait, $8 million?" she stammered. Jeffy nodded gravely. "Mrs. Pfizer is the CEO of Super Robotech, and she holds an $8 million account with us," he said. Dora's arrogance vanished instantly, replaced by panic. She started apologizing, but it was too late. "You've disrespected not just me, but the values this bank should stand for." "I'm done," I said. Jeffy, sensing the gravity of the situation, asked me to follow him to a private office so we could discuss the matter in detail. He looked visibly shaken as he guided me away from the main area of the bank, while Dora stood there, her face pale and her eyes wide with shock. She seemed frozen in place, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Once inside the office, Jeffy closed the door and took a deep breath. "Mrs. Pfizer, please. I understand your frustration. I assure you, we will take immediate action. Dora's behavior is inexcusable, and I will personally see to it that she faces the consequences," he said, his voice trembling slightly. I looked at him, my expression serious. "Jeffy, I appreciate your willingness to address this, but I need assurances. I've been patient, but her behavior has crossed the line. She tore up my money in front of everyone and treated me like I was beneath her." "I can't let this slide," I said. Jeffy nodded, his face filled with concern. "I understand completely, Mrs. Pfizer. Dora's actions were not only disrespectful, but also damaging to the reputation of this bank. I will escalate this to upper management right away. Please give us a chance to make this right," he pleaded. I took a moment to consider his words. I could see the sincerity in his eyes, and I knew that Jeffy was genuinely trying to fix the situation. "All right, Jeffy, I'll give you a chance. But understand this, if I don't see immediate action, I will take my business elsewhere," I said firmly. Jeffy exhaled in relief and nodded. "Thank you, Mrs. Pfizer. I promise you, you won't regret this decision. I'll make sure Dora is held accountable for her actions," he said. I left the bank that day, still feeling a mix of anger and frustration, but also a sense of determination. I knew that I had done the right thing by standing up to Dora. People like her needed to be held accountable for their actions, and I was not going to back down until justice was served. The next few days were a whirlwind. News of the incident had spread quickly, thanks in part to a customer who had recorded Dora tearing up my $100 bill and posted it online. The video went viral, and soon enough, the bank was facing a public relations nightmare. Comments poured in, criticizing the bank for allowing such behavior and demanding that Dora be fired. I received a call from Jeffy a few days later. He sounded exhausted, but there was also a sense of relief in his voice. "Mrs. Pfizer, I wanted to let you know that Dora has been terminated from her position." Upper management reviewed the incident, and given the public backlash, they had no choice but to let her go, he said. I nodded, though he couldn't see me. "Thank you for letting me know, Jeffy. I appreciate your efforts in handling this," I replied. "It's the least we could do, Mrs. Pfizer. I'm truly sorry for everything that happened, and I hope you'll continue to do business with us." We value your partnership and will work hard to regain your trust, he said. After the call, I felt a sense of closure. Dora had faced the consequences of her actions, and justice had been served. But the story didn't end there. A week later, I came across a video on social media. It was Dora, sitting in what looked like a small, cluttered apartment. Her face was pale, and her eyes were red from crying. She spoke to the camera, her voice shaky. I've lost everything, my job, my home. I made mistakes, and now I'm paying for them. I don't know how I'm going to move forward from this, she said, her voice breaking. I watched the video, feeling a mix of emotions. Part of me felt sorry for her. She had clearly hit rock bottom. But another part of me knew that this was the result of her own actions. She had brought this upon herself by treating others with such disrespect and entitlement. The comments on the video were divided. Some people sympathized with her, saying that everyone deserved a second chance. Others were harsher, reminding her of the way she had treated me and other customers at the bank. It was clear that Dora's actions had left a lasting impression, and not a good one. I decided to put the whole ordeal behind me. I had more important things to focus on. My company, Super Robotech, was finally starting to recover from the labor shortage. We had hired several new employees, all of whom were talented and eager to contribute. The workload was starting to lighten, and I could feel the difference in the office atmosphere. There was a sense of renewed energy, and everyone seemed more motivated than ever. One afternoon, as I was working on a new project involving a caregiving robot, I received an unexpected visitor at the office. It was Jeffy. He looked a little nervous as he approached my desk, holding a small envelope. "Mrs. Pfizer, I wanted to personally deliver this to you," he said, handing me the envelope. "It's a formal letter of apology from the bank's upper management. They wanted to express their regret for everything that happened and assure you that steps are being taken to prevent incidents like this in the future." I took the envelope and smiled at Jeffy. "Thank you, Jeffy. I appreciate everything you've done. It couldn't have been easy dealing with all of this," I said. Jeffy sighed, his shoulders relaxing a little. "It's been a challenging few weeks, but I'm just glad we could make things right. You're an important client, Mrs. Pfizer, and we truly value your business," he said. I nodded. "I know you do, and I'm willing to continue working with the bank as long as I see that real changes are being made," I replied. Jeffy smiled, a look of relief washing over his face. "Thank you, Mrs. Pfizer. I promise you things will be different from now on," he said before turning to leave. As I watched him go, I felt a sense of satisfaction. I had stood up for myself and for others who had been mistreated. I had used my position and influence to bring about change, and that was something to be proud of. In the weeks that followed, I focused all my energy on my work. The caregiving robot project was coming along well, and we were making great progress. The new team members were fitting in perfectly, and the atmosphere in the office was one of collaboration and excitement. We were all working towards a common goal, and it felt good to be part of something so meaningful. One day, I received a letter in the mail. It was from Dora. I hesitated for a moment before opening it, unsure of what to expect. The letter was short, but it was heartfelt. She apologized for her behavior, admitting that she had let her arrogance and entitlement get the best of her. She wrote that losing everything had been a wake-up call, and that she was trying to change for the better. I read the letter twice, taking in her words. It wasn't easy to forgive someone who had caused so much trouble, but I also believed in second chances. People could change, and maybe this was Dora's opportunity to do just that. I decided to write back, keeping my response brief but encouraging. I told her that I hoped she would learn from her mistakes and use this experience to grow as a person. It wasn't a gesture of friendship, but rather one of hope. Hope that she would take responsibility for her actions and make something positive out of the situation. With that, I felt a sense of closure. The chapter with Dora was finally over, and I could move on with my life without any lingering bitterness. I had a company to run, a team to lead, and a passion for robotics that drove me every single day. There was so much more to look forward to, and I was ready to embrace it all. Despite the challenges and setbacks, I knew that I was on the right path. Super Robotech was growing, and we were making a difference in the world of robotics. And as long as I had the determination to keep pushing forward, I knew that nothing could hold me back. The ordeal with Dora had been a test of my patience and resilience, but in the end, it had only made me stronger. I was more determined than ever to succeed, not just for myself, but for my employees, my clients, and for everyone who believed in what we were doing. The future was bright, and I was ready to face whatever came my way, one challenge at a time.